So how can you more effectively close SMMA clients on sales calls? In this video, I'm going to run through everything I've learned about closing clients, the psychology behind selling, everything I've learned about selling in my online kind of business career. I'm going to be teaching it back to you, so let's get into it. Okay, in order to sell effectively, you must first understand that you have a primal, innate, subconscious programming about sales in general. If I was to say to you right now, what's the first thing you think of when you think of a salesperson, like a salesman, right? You kind of think a little bit manipulative, you think slimy, you think of a scammer, and this has been programmed into you since you were a young kid. Whenever you saw or your parents talked about a salesman, people, in a with a briefcase in a suit, you thought they were a little bit of a scammer and a manipulator and a seller. You need to completely remove this sales mindset from your programming and able to sell your product or slash services. This has such an effect when you actually go to sell your services. If you've been subconsciously and even consciously angry about people selling, angry about people trying to take your money for value. You look at people who selling, and I was in exactly the same situation. There's only till I switched my mindset was I able to make money and stop being broke. You get angry when people sell online programs and online courses authentically. I'm not just saying this because I do have an online program. You get angry, you're like, oh, he's a scammer. Remove this, bro. That's just a brokey mindset. Okay, remove that mindset of you getting angry towards people selling their products or services, and you wonder why you cannot sell your products or service, because you don't like the idea of selling. You don't view selling as an angle between someone who has a solution to a problem, and in return there's value for this solution to fix the problem. That is how you need to think about selling. Just a complete life advice for you: remove that anger towards money, because it just negatively attracts no money towards you. You wonder why you don't have any money in your bank account. It's because you see this guy selling a program, or you see this guy trying to pitch you his agency service. Don't get angry. Just think, okay, well, is this a good value for money? If not, move on. And if it is, then that's how sales is generated. So from now on, whenever you think of a salesperson, or you ever get someone trying to pitch or sell you, instead of going, oh, they're a scammer, or getting angry and, actually using angry emotions, just think, okay, he's trying to sell me his products or service like I want to do, because do you want to sell as well? Do you want to make money? Yes. Okay, cool. And think, okay, is this value for the money? Is this a good value proposition? And analyze sales pitch that way. Second thing you could do to increase your closing rate for your social media marketing agency is to simply invest in setup, invest in studio, and invest in your own personal appearance. If you've read any book on personal development, psychology, sales psychology, the first appearance means everything. Through the first appearance, your prospect's going to generate a ton of thoughts as to whether this person is competent, whether this person is a professional, whether this person is an authority figure, just whether this person can get the job done, whether this person, I can leave my business in the hands of this person. I know I'm getting a return on investment. Well, not all, but huge subconscious programming in your first appearance. Okay, I've jumped on sales calls where like the person's like setting up their phone for the sales call, and I'm just like, okay, well, from the get-go, no matter what you say, you're like, I'm like, be aware of this. I'm just 20% lowered towards signing on your service, because I believe you are an amateur over a professional. If you know anything about your prospects actually signing on with your service, it's because you are the authority figure. It's because you are a professional, and in your hands, their business is in good place, and you're going to provide them genuine value. All of this is destroyed if you jump on the sales call and you're in some weird basement, or like you don't have a mic, you're doing it on your phone. You come across like you don't make money, right? So invest in a studio, invest in lighting, invest in mics. This mic's, pretty expensive, but whatever you can do on your budget is going to be the best investment you have. If you're doing it on a phone, boys, like, what is that? Like, just get a £50 webcam, okay? At least invest in lights, invest in your background, invest in all this stuff, because it's going to have such a positive influence on your sales call. A lot of people talk about the sales tactics of manipulation and all this, which isn't actually how you sell at all. That's just like the kind of stuff the gurus have told you. But little stuff like having a good studio, is very, very important, able to sign these clients. Okay, the third rule of selling, and to be honest, this is just the most important, it's actually believing in your product slash service. Now, you've heard this a million times. It's a little bit wishy-washy, but like, I've generally had personal experience of this. When a client came on to my, when I was on a sales call with a potential client, and believe in my service delivery, I even kind of thought like, bro, if you sign on, I don't know if I can even service deliver for you. And this has such a damaging effect when signing on with your service, because we're all human beings. We don't want to scam anyone. We just want to bring genuine value, and that's what we hope all of our companies can do. But if you don't believe that your offer can genuinely bring the value, your demeanor, your body language, the things you say, the way you present is going to be lowered when you actually go to sell the service, because you simply don't believe in it. There's a subconscious part of you, and you know this is generally true in your brain right now, that kind of doesn't want to sign a client. And now you're of course you're going, oh, well, what do you mean? Of course I want to sign a client. You don't, because you don't believe you could service deliver. So a really, really important part of actually being good on a sales call, and even just allowing yourself to actually showcase your service, is knowing that you have a genuinely fantastic service. This is super, super important. So work on your product development, work on your fulfillment development, work on your service development, getting the specialists you need. Do all of this stuff in able to actually close the client on a sales call. If a prospect gets on a sales call with me now, like, it's done. They are closed. Okay, I have experience in this space. Obviously, I've been doing this for a very long, a long time now. But just because of my service, I know that if they leave the call and they haven't signed on, they have missed out on so much value and so much inputs that can, our inputs that can generally guarantee the outputs that they desire. That's going to allow them to scale their business. And if they were to miss out, that it would be so damaging for their actual business. I get excited to jump on sales calls right now. A lot of you are still like in that phase where you're a little bit nervous, like it means a lot, and you're not really sure like how to present your product, how to present your service, etc. You'll notice when they objection handle, you're like, oh wait, yeah, like that might be true, okay? And if this is happening with your service, it doesn't, alleviate the nerves of actually allowing your prospect to sign on with your service. So step 3 is simply believe in your service, hire great talent, have great inputs, and actually make sure your client is getting a direct return on investment. Step 4, enable to actually become a fantastic closer. And this might annoy a lot of you, but it's just the truth. And that's all I want to give you, boys. As you know from my other videos, is that experience compounds the skill. Okay, you are never going to get fantastic at sales just by watching videos like this of people who have done it, because at the end of the day, you are you have your own perceptions, you have your own limitations, you have your own constraints, and this can only be broken by the real in-depth experience of being on sales calls. So the more sales calls you take, the better you are going to get at selling, the better you're going to start picking up different things, the better you're actually going to be able to present your offer, the better you're going to be able to tweak the pace of the sales call, because that's the thing as well. It's like, I noticed when me and my business partner had a discussion, we were like, our sales calls are too fast. We were trying to get it over and done with because we genuinely, one, didn't believe in our service, but didn't believe in ourselves as a seller and just didn't have that experience. I'm quite like just an authentic round for the rest of this video. You can just kind of sit and chill. I'm just going to waffle about sales. But like the pace, like you can never, if you actually think about it, right? For someone to sign on your service for 2K, 2.5K, 3K per month, right? That cannot be done within a 5-minute conversation. Unless you have incredible sales assets where they've completely warmed up before the call, you cannot actually close a client in 15 minutes, okay? So, actually extend the length of your sales call. And that was a really, really big secret and insight that I kind of found out when taking a bunch of sales calls. Like, they don't know the value I can bring. They haven't warmed up to my personality. We haven't got to a point where we're kind of cracking jokes and they understand that I understand their business. Okay, so really, really extend the timeline on your actual sales call as well. And the only way you're going to pick up these little things that I started picking up was by just taking more sales calls. If you're thinking right now, if you've been outreached by a potential remote closer, don't take it. Okay, you need to learn on the sales call. You need to get better at selling yourself, and then you can actually build kind of a growth team around closers. You can have a better development team there earlier, later in the future when you're scaling. But for the moment, take your sales calls, get the real experience, and go from there. One little bonus just to wrap up this video in order to actually close clients on an SMMA sales call is to warm up your prospects before the sales call. Now, when a prospect jumps on my sales call, they've digested so much of my content, they're a warm lead, they understand I'm an authority figure. That plays such an effect on the actual sales call. A lot of you right now are getting on sales calls where like you have no profile picture, they haven't digested sales assets and content, they haven't seen testimonials, they haven't been led to a converting sales funnel. There's so many little steps you need to do in order to maximize the potential of your prospect actually signing on with your service. So the best thing you can do is actually optimize your warming up phase for your prospect getting on the call. It's super, super important. Flood them with the sales assets, right? Flood them with testimonials, flood them with case studies, flood them with your own content. And this is going to make you so much more attractive to your actual prospects. It's going to help you a ton on a sales call. That's the things I just want to say. There's a little bit of an authentic video. Didn't really have any structure to it, but just going over how you can sell, tips I've learned, things you need to be doing in able to increase your closing rate. And at the end of the day, if you can increase your closing rate by, like, let's say 30%, you're going to have a much, much more profitable business. And you can use that money to invest in appointment sales, operations, management, and all that good stuff. Okay, so if you haven't added me on Instagram, it's lukejackson.mx. And if you want in the agency network, free Discord, get in the free Discord, and I'll see you next one. Peace.